Thank you for the introduction. I would now like to formally welcome again Mr. Gopi Thangavel, Head of IT Infrastructure, Reliance Industries. Welcome on the virtual desk, Gopi.
Thank you, Srikanth. Thank you for
Yeah,
having me.
thank you. I would now like to welcome Mr. Vikram K, Senior Director, Industry Verticals, HP India, on the virtual desk.
Hey, thanks, Srikanth. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, Gopi.
Okay. So we'll just
Srikanth.
start. Hi. We'll just start with the discussion. Now, India has been on a high data growth strategy, and the Reliance Group has really led the way for leading the data revolution through Geo. Reliance has also taken a lot of other initiatives where technology is being leveraged heavily in almost all its industry verticals. Today, I have the privilege of asking Gopi the first question. Now, Gopi, as the head of IT infrastructure, what are some of the key priorities for you from a data center perspective? Over to you, Gopi.
Ah, Thanks, Srikanth. See, the priority, it's a very simple, straightforward. We have to keep up and running 100%. That's the topmost priority. Without any business interruption, the show must go on and service need to be always up. No matter what, we normally segregate into three pieces. The computing piece, which is a data center, network piece closely associated with the data center, end user who is really using that data center. So when you look at these three pieces, all the puzzle when we are putting together, we just need to ensure that it is up and running, the availability of the service without any interruptions. But at the same time, it is not only availability, it's about acceptable usage is important. Maybe I may show like 100% data center is up, but as per the user, the performance is not that great, then it will go for a task. So it is important for us to up and acceptable performance. That is the topmost priority. And quickly, the second one is the security. When we look at the current, whatever the way we are, things are happening across the globe, we have to tighten the security and mitigate all the attacks and malicious things, ensuring all these things. And the topmost is the security, second topmost, and we will go a little more deeper after that.
Yeah, thank you, Rupi. Now I'd like to come over to Vikram. Now, Vikram, as HP, I think your company has also been involved in a lot of transformational data center initiatives across the country. Now, from a data center portfolio point of view, what are some of the initiatives that HP is involved in? You can just share your perspective. Over to you, Vikram.
Yeah, so I was just listening very keenly to what Gopi had to say because, he's a fairly good indicator or a barometer of how customers felt or what customers are doing through the course of the last 9 to 11 months. So for us, all of these customers like Gopi and others are mission critical customers. And it's a nice cliche to say, look, let's keep the lights on and running. And to do that, he kind of split that up into three portions, and each one of those three portions are as critical as the other. So today, um, let's imagine you need to send some money to somebody. In the last 9 to 11 months, when I look back at myself, I haven't had a single corporate card transaction. Okay, I haven't built anything because I've not stayed in a hotel. I've not booked an airline through for HP's travel, all that. In the meanwhile, my transactions that have gone, the transaction volume though has gone up on a variety of other retail things. I mean, it could be the likes of many of the couriers that you do this, that, and the other. The many payment wallets that we use, etc. So this is just an example that there are so many of these, handheld apps that you carry that connects to a backend. So it's the app that needs to work, it's the backend that needs to work, and all the connectivity in between that needs to work. And to keep this up and running with a variety of finance organizations, manufacturing organizations, telecom organizations, the two or three largest of the service providers in the country that we provide IT to, and of course a whole lot of government entities has been one big journey, and everybody has done something or the other which is transformational towards getting this hybrid aspect as well as the connected aspects, right? They all getting to be more connected, everybody's trying to be a lot more autonomous, and everybody's making their environments a lot more programmable, which is that, microservices, architecture, bare metal, so on and so forth. So it's a combination of all of this, actually, Srikanth, if I answered your question.
Sure. Thank you, Vikram. Now I would like to come back to Gopi again. Now, Gopi, as a head of IT infrastructure, you fairly have a very diverse portfolio from I mean, you at one side you have geo, you have oil and gas, you have retail. So from an allocation of workloads, how do you see the infrastructure changing from a private to public to a hybrid cloud? Can you share your perspective on how do you match the workload to the infrastructure? What are your priorities? Yeah.
If you look at the priority way, to be honest, all are priority. To be honest, it's no difference. There is no, he is topmost priority or this business is topmost. Everybody is priority in a way. When we look at it, sometimes um this the entry level one executive or one associate make a big change also. You won't believe it. When we look at that in the largest industries also, we normally take care of all the levels, but at the same time, certain entry level, no, they may have certain minimum bandwidth. Right now, it's everybody's working from home. So working from home, the challenge is what kind of bandwidth they are consuming. The guy is getting 2 lakh, 3 lakh CTC guy. It's very difficult for him to afford a big bandwidth like 100 MB or 50 MB bandwidth in home and having a private room and having a luxury place, and not possible. They may running in a small studio apartment, living together with the kids, and they have to manage it. So now, what is the best we can do is how we can enable such a people and motivate such a people and be part of this excellent journey, which is a pandemic one. But at the same time, how we can make sure that technology, how we can enable. When we look at it, you won't believe it. We send the engineer directly to their houses. That is not only us; even largest companies, everybody does that to make sure that we are supporting the home infrastructure. That is the topmost thing. Such a people who don't voice out for them, we have to voice out for them. You know, that's one of the topmost. So in a way, if you look at it, everybody's topmost priority. But at the same time, we may think, okay, they are. What about the top level? Top level is the highest vulnerable, because imagine one small mistake or one phishing attack will damage the entire company. One small click of top level, it's enough to damage the entire reputation or financial or so many other consequences for it. So, in a way, if you look at it, everything is very important. So, topmost priority, as I said, availability, security, and the ensuring that the show is going on with all the people able to access it. Comprehensive in 24 into 7. It's a old mantra. People will say, anytime, any place, any device.
Right.
Now we are already in there, I believe.
Okay. Okay. So just one follow-up question, Gopi. Pure from a planning point of view, if I can say that before I come to Vikram, you have businesses which are growing very fast. For example, something like a Geo, where you have to plan for data center capacity expansion. Way ahead. You don't know how things will expand. Then you have stable businesses, if I can say that, like a oil and gas industry. It's a fairly diverse portfolio. So purely from a, if I had to pick your brain in terms of purely from a planning point of view, how do you kind of envisage or think about? Why I'm asking you this question also, because there will be a lot of people who are listening to this conversation, and they may have similar doubts, when they go in for such roles. Or so, just wanted to know your perspective.
See, before coming to Reliance, I was with Wipro and Reddy's and other places. So when I look at the overall perspective, I couldn't see any differences, to be honest. There is no difference at all. Only the thing is how much we are able to meet the business requirement, how much the IT is not acting like IT. IT is supposed to act like a business enabler. So when we are acting on business enabler, we know the business reality, which month they are in peak, which month the data, the storage need to be increased, when the utilization, the growth rate, the trend analysis. Anyway, the intelligence are much higher than compared to before. Now the artificial intelligence and machine learning, so many intelligence coming to the place. Um, it is so fantastic that even we know that. For example, nowadays we come to know exactly, okay, every week, Thursday, this particular hour is high peak. And that time I need to increase certain resources, or I need to increase the human resource or technically computing resources or whatever it is. But when I look at it overall as a business, it's not about, this business is we have to increase, this business we have to reduce, and this business is very stay and calm. Sometimes stay and calm also dangerous, because we have to ensure that we never know what will happen. So it is important to see that overall what is happening. So it is like a old theory, we believe people, but at the same time we believe only the data. Rest all please,
Yeah,
um, come only with the data. We don't believe anything else. So the data will tell you the truth. Are we going in a right direction, wrong direction, or we are hitting high, low? So based on the data, when we are ensuring the availability, ensuring the resources there, then definitely we are meeting it. It is not only for Reliance, to be honest. It is for everyone. Even if you take a banks or HDFC, or you take a pharmaceutical, or you take a IT industry, I think that's what everyone does it actually. That's what the review mechanism going well. That's how the one small incident become major incident, and major incident, how they are tackling with the problem ticket. Okay, how many time repeated? How we are root cause analysis, you are doing it, how we are doing the capacity planning. So entire process way it will happen. Otherwise, one, we don't believe on superheroes, because that's a disaster for any company. So the only my tips is go with the process. Don't believe in superheroes.
very nice, sir. Very nice. Very, very, very articulate. Now I'd like to come to Vikram. Vikram, you have also been a technology veteran, and you've seen the evolution of the industry, the data center industry, if I can call that. Now, organizations who have just started on the journey of hybrid cloud, uh, would you want to recommend any best practices or frameworks to which helps them to assess which workload is suited to which environment? Over to you, Vikram.
So see, I don't want to add, my wisdom to this specific thing, primarily because I think it's a highly customized environment that each business will be running, and there might not be a one size that fits all for sure. But I will just start from where Gopi left. I mean, one of the things that's happened, without a realization, I mean, without our actually having stating it, everybody has gone through his own journey on self-realization in these 9-10 months, right? So it really are not the heroes that make the day. It is your process, it is your overall people, the core teams, and the technology that you put in place. And to the other point that he mentioned, and this is somewhere rhyming so well with what Antonio had said many years ago, perhaps, saying, he said, who's our CEO, he said, the future is going to be cloud enabled, hybrid, and data driven. So, I mean, that's a portion I think specifically I picked from Gopi, because if your decision cycles are not based on pure data, then it's between what you feel and what you think, and then you need to really get to the data and then start making your decisions. One. The second thing is to your question about what could we be doing together with a lot of these firms. I guess I think, like I said, now everybody's on his own journey of uh, trying to kind of get a little more with their set of customers. So a lot of these microservice architecture, etc., is happening. Well, the core has remained intact. They've had to kind of re-engineer the facets of how the customer sees the organization, because that is the actual feel perception an average customer or a corporate gets about the firm. So those are the aspects people are correcting, and a part of it is how we operate with our edge device, and that's a perception part, which is a role played by these organizations in terms of the applications that they develop, which are the front ends, which are now perhaps the microservices. That's a edge part, and then the connectivity back to the core, which is the hybrid part. It could be on a cloud, it could be on a private cloud, public cloud, whatever it is. Across all these journeys, I guess we have a huge role to play, because to your first question and this, if I were to combine this together, most of the organizations are doing a certain element of refactoring or replatforming, or a variety of those kind of things, retiring some applications as well. To your question about what should organizations do, and reprioritizing about which are the ones that need to be placed. So today, data and applications don't have a place. There's no, the old data center concept with an application X or a application Y. When I started, they would say that is that application server. So today, there is no premise specifically for data or app. In that kind of a world, also to Gopi's point, security and how we kind of uh, develop the overall framework uh, is a big, mighty blueprinting that needs to be done. And that those are the areas that we are focused on with most customers and deploying them as well.
Okay, so just one follow-up question to you also, Vikram, before I go to Gopi. Now, Edge is becoming a big area of focus for many enterprises, and also the as a service initiative. Now, from your own experience, how have Indian organizations leveraged this? If you can just share your perspective.
So see, there's a phenomenal evolution of the Indian organization's IT think tank, I would imagine. And, you know, we actually come from a background of engineering which is extremely frugal. Indians by nature are very frugal, and Indian engineering is even more frugal. And that's the reason you see many of the large automotive companies, etc., taking shape, setting shop here, do all that. What we've experienced through the last 9 to 11 months is, to your specific question is, uh, people have found their own ways to meet and overcome the inadequacies of the data center. Not everyone will be a Reliance, or not everyone will be a Dr. Reddy's Labs. These firms actually have figured their own way out of trying to get into consuming models, such as the one that we have, which is GreenLake, and they go in premise, the economy of scale of a cloud. And I think Gopi's first point was about the fact that they could never, most organizations not able to predict how, for example, storage growth is, or compute growth is. So those are the things that get buffered in a consumption model like GreenLake, and that is something we saw a huge uptake on, primarily because of the Indian innovation, so to say, of IT and IT infrastructure.
Okay,
If I
great.
answered your question, yeah.
Yeah, great. Coming up back to Gopi now, Gopi, you have briefly touched upon this point, but I'd still like to, ask you this in depth. What role do you think technologies like AI and machine learning are playing in improving your data center efficiency in your group? If you can share some examples from your group, that would be a good learning experience for our viewers.
If you look at it, largely AI, ML playing a huge role now, which is, even you look at the even HP tools itself, it's orchestrations with the containerized. It's already coming with that way only. Now things are coming in a simple API factor. No need to do the entire development. It's very straightforward. And when you look at that way, AI and ML playing a huge role. Simple example, I can put it in a simple diversity. One is ML is nothing but how we seeing it is. It's a learning. Machine is just learning. For learning, you need a history. History is nothing but a data. So the data, whatever last 1 year data or whatever, it will tell you who you are now, what state you are, your system, either it's a data center or it's a server or network or it's a chilling unit or humidity system or whatever it is. Any system, the last 1 year data, it will tell you the history of it. Is like your body checkup, last 1 year, your data, it will tell you exactly who you are, how your body is doing. So one intelligent thing is machine learning can pick exactly where we left, and okay, this is what, this is the way it's operating. Either it's an incident or request. For example, there one SQL service or some service getting stopped. So this is the learning from that, and immediately it will restart the service, or it will whatever the subsidiary of the services or whatever it is, it will try to do that. Now, if you look at the things in the AI way, AI largely playing a huge role of chiller unit, like a repeated task. Okay, morning, it's always the data center need to be in 18 degree or 21 degree, whatever the size of your data center. And AI, we have to do that. AI, nothing but we are doing it in a bot way. So the bot will take care of everything. In a way, we are going now, I think bot only not limited to data center. We are doing it in a lot of application, ticket booking system, and you are saying auto answering, either Apple support or bank support or any other support bot is there already. And we have our own bot to respond to end user computing when they are working from home, and they can see that, self-help, okay, can you just, many time it happens, the wireless not working or this not working, the bot can help the user automatically, they can do that basic 2 3 steps, then it's become a incident ticket or something, or request for the engineer to handle it. Otherwise it's directly the AI and ML can handle it. Similarly, when you look at the data center VAS area, if the data center is really really large, then you don't have a choice other than putting a intelligent way, because humanly it's not possible to monitor 24 into 7 your water leakage is happening or humidity is increasing or temperature is particular rack getting overheated, because it may damage the entire component. If we put multiple storages or servers and rack and blades, and imagine that one particular two racks or one row is getting more heated, it's gone, then nobody cannot do anything. The damage is unimaginable. So, and second is when we have a BCP DR or a near DR or anything, this intelligent system will help us to, okay, there is a link is failed or storage is not responding or database is not going in the right way. The intelligent system will enable us to move to the nearest one. So the user will not get impacted at all. So that is what I can see, that, the quick differences. The same time, when you talk about the age, I thought of adding one more point to that. See, typically it is like a circle is happening in our life. Similarly, when you look at it, our system started with edge only. If you look at the technology, when we go back in 1960s and 70s, the edge is the system. We had started with edge only. Now you look at the Tesla or any other car, each BMW and Tesla is one edge server actually, in a way, if you look at it. It's back to that. And before, if you look at the large manufacturing, they will not keep a massive data center. They will keep one data center, but each location they will keep a small hub room or small server room to serve that SCADA or manufacturing system or learning LMS system or any other system. They will keep it nearest one. They will not keep it in the enterprise or central level, because they don't want to connect the internet or any other things to the manufacturing. So they will keep it in an isolated way. Now again it is coming back after this pandemic situation. In a way, it's also getting booming, and wherever we are able to see that the small manufacturing unit is there, people love to put it in their location. So even the enterprise level, some incident or internet link is failed or any other incident happen, there's nothing to worry. The show will go on automatically. So in a way, edge is coming back in a way.
Yes, beautifully articulated. I think that's what experience does. I think you have a fairly larger view of how technology has evolved, and you can really go back in history and see things are actually the same or have been different, but the way you articulate it is brilliant. Now I'd like to come to Vikram again. Now, Vikram, you just heard Gopi speak beautifully about how about the edge narrative, and also how AI and ML technologies are helping his company. Purely from HP perspective, how far are we from the vision of a fully autonomous data center? I'd like to share your experience or perspective on when you look at global organizations and Indian organizations, and if you can just share your perspective on how far are we from fully running an autonomous data center.
I guess we're not far. I mean, actually, it's behind us right now, as Gopi was saying, right? So the autonomous part, look at IT as a ERP system for the whole organization. I mean, not ERP as in resource planning for this thing. I mean, let's imagine that without it, you can't do like a wicket keeper's job. So in that, whatever you said, the autonomous part, the highest end could be that the machines are suggesting a way forward. But if you go to the infra part, we've had all these elements built into all these compute and storage elements for almost about, I think, 2 to 3 years or 4 years now. Specifically from the point of view of telemetry, from the point of view of software defining, from the point of view of things like, an example, automated remediation, right? If something goes down, so what happens? So the server can take care of itself by remediating itself automatically. One aspect of how the autonomous nature can work in a favor. Or if you take the case of storage, the telemetry offered is to the level of the database between VMs. databases, and many components of the storage subsystem or the whole environment, which includes the compute as well. So, I mean, we well into that cycle and sequence of IT systems being completely autonomous. So, in fact, everything that ships, at least from HP, without specifically certifying so, is autonomous in nature. This is for the IT infra part. Of course, there's a IT business part, which is different. I mean, where you start analyzing the texts, videos, images, and other forms of data to see how you can become a lot more autonomous. So, that we have a view about that as well. But I think specific to infra, this is something that's been, I would imagine, ingrained in our systems for a pretty much a long time, and that's the reason. If you see from the time we kind of started shipping Primera, which is our storage brand, we offer about 6 nines of data availability, so on and so forth. So a lot of developments that have taken place. I mean, it's not as much as a thing of the future. That future is already here. And just to add, I was listening very intently to Gopi, what Gopi was saying about the past. I remember those days when there was this big talk about the client server architecture, and before that, everything was centralized. You were the edge anyway. So there used to be one data center globally run by one company, and then you were the edge anyway. Then it came to this second state where there was a client server architecture, and you would be the remote presentation part of the client server, and so on and so forth. And the world has moved on into the software defined area where the whole thing looks like one contiguous whole, and you actually do not know which part you are representing. And that's the beauty of the world today around the way the autonomous structure has been developed. So as a hybrid structure that's evolved over a period of time.
Fantastic. I think both of you have kind of beautifully articulated, the perspective from a tech. I mean, you made it look very simple, if you ask me. I mean, the way Gopi articulated. I mean, there are different views to the mountain, if I can say that. But I think both of you have presented different views of the mountain to our viewers. Now, my next question is to Gopi. Gopi, now the pandemic has changed a lot of things from an infrastructure planning point of view. You have articulated that in some of my past questions. But how does the future look in terms of if you have to really plan the future roadmap, Gopi? How much has pandemic influenced it, and what kind of changes? Like the example you mentioned about providing bandwidth to any remote user, for example. More of edge data centers as an example. Now, how does this change all that from a data center planning for point of view for you, Gopi?
And end of the day, the data center is meant for user access. So when we look back, I just want to remember the January of 2020, January, February, or the March when it started. Technically, February itself, people start to get the feel of it. But the thing is, when you look back, you cannot do it in overnight. For example, work from home required a device which is they have to operate, which is you cannot do it for thousands and lakhs of people in overnight. It is impossible to do such a thing. And laptop, we are not into Facebook, Google kind of other way. For example, when you are using Facebook, they don't care you have a virus or your device need Windows 10 or this much patch is required. They don't care. Or is it encrypted or something. You just open the app, you're using it. But we are not into that level state of any device and bring your own device kind of thing. It is have a certain limitation. Still, we care about the endpoint. We care about encryptions, USB blocks, or whatever the way to secure to ensure that your endpoint is not compromised or something like that. So when we look at that, preparing any endpoint in such a short time for large scale, it's almost impossible. You can say that. So you need a proper plan to do that. So in IT, we always do only one thing, which is plan for worst. Actually, we always, even any change, we plan for bad and plan for worst only. Worst case scenario, what to do. So that's how the change management follows. So similarly, when we look at it, the laptop migration started quite long back. That's why when you look at the other companies, whether it's Reliance and other groups, handled much better because the journey of laptop started very quite long. That's why even HP is one of the largest partners for us still. on that journey also. So we are able to achieve in a very almost 80-90% in that time itself before pandemic started. So we're able to manage it. And second is, it may sound little bad, but the bitter truth is we always do be prepared. So either extension of this pandemic or any other new bad thing will happen in future. We are thinking always in that way. I know that it sounds bad, but that's how we get prepared also. So when we are looking at that way, we are expecting, some more work from home going to be extended and other portfolio getting changed. If you look at it, even our all the onboarding, thousands of people who were newly joined last 10 months, and it is upcoming also, all virtually onboarded. Then when we talk about virtually onboarded and work from home, there was I still remember one of the famous bank, when we had a discussion when I was in Wipro, we directly meet the CEO and he mentioned only one word, the work from home. He against it. He said, you know what, tomorrow you put the engineer, database engineer or senior engineer work from home in Bangalore, and suddenly one guy coming and put a gun on the engineer, you do this, you will do it or not? I said, of course you will do it. Then I don't want that person, such a thing in my system. So you look at the way, but it may sound very extremely dramatic, but the way what they are saying is there is a high possibility of something. That's where the process coming to the picture of controlling the people work from home. So even though we can advise hundreds of things, but end of the day, the process without the control, it is like a supercar without a brake. So we putting a control in a way, even somebody trying to copy or somebody trying to do something more than their privilege or without the incident log into the system, it is completely prohibited. So in a way, we are controlling the people to enable it much efficient way. So the control, it is not only limited to the access or any other way. Even you took at that, the 28th we celebrated Data Privacy Day also. When you look at the way there is a data security and data privacy. Imagine that the data privacy getting compromised, even though we don't have a many other thing in India. Now it's starting it like a GDPR, whatever it is. Imagine that it is unimaginable. The HR people also accessing from home and many other information accessing from home. So imagine that it is getting compromised. And one simple example: imagine one female employee in your organization, and she having a PAN card, Aadhaar card, Form 16, medical history, and age and sex, the family background. Imagine that it's getting compromised. One personal information got leaked, and all the information stored got leaked. It's unimaginable threat actually. So it may sound little different, but actual fact is that is one of the highest threat. How we are protecting it, how we are ensuring that protections, and how we are ensuring more than the technology, how we are putting the control of it, but at the same time the control not hammering the business what they do. So that is the topmost thing we are trying to do.
Great. I think you're very interesting analogy, if I can say that. It's interesting analogies. It makes us understand technology in a different way. What examples you've given. It gives a different aspect to technology itself. Now coming to Vikram again. Uh, as HP, you also have seen this transformation in the pandemic, and you also kind of adapted through different business models. So what has been the experience, Vikram, in terms of purely from a advising companies from a data center strategy point of view? What have been some of the biggest learnings for you?
See, firstly, to Gopi's point, and that's what I see across the whole of India. Uh, One of the reasons they're predicting now a V-shaped recovery for the economy, etc., is because some of the precautions taken very early on. But most importantly, I think the single biggest thing that's happened in the recent times is there's a humongous, huge cultural transformation that many organizations have been through. I've been speaking to telecom major after telecom major, manufacturing organization after manufacturing organization, and many of the manufacturing organizations are historical in nature. I mean, they've been in this country for about 100 years. At least telecom is more recent. Some of these companies have gone through a huge cultural transformation. Uh, to Gopi's point, if you, I don't want to take names, but if you told a manufacturing organization about the same time last year, January of last year or Feb 1st of last year that I'm working from home, the boss would have laughed because there was no concept called work from home. Work from home was understood to be doing some vela or some, having a good time. Uh, that's the first cultural transformation many organizations have gone through. And added to the fact that this transformation has happened, the many aspects of security that people have had to kind of take care of. I've known because of many close relatives as well, their organizations, which are the largest of the Indian systems integrators, clearly closed offices down and moved them homeward. So, I've been in one of those journeys where, we went and picked up our share of, meaning the closed our office space, came back, etc. One of the largest systems integrator without naming them. So, these cultural transformations have made two, three things very clear, which is the fact that it is absolutely edge-centric, it's going to be data-driven, and it's going to be hybrid. And then when you're doing that, you have to take care of all the needs of how the mission critical organization is running. And there are so many other aspects of that also that Gopi mentioned. For us, this whole journey could start with, reprioritizing, assessing your business and IT for a variety of reasons, figuring out the workloads that need to move to the cloud, public or private, figure out which the ones that need to be kept in prem, how you make them interoperable. I mean, look, Gopi made a nice point about the API integration, application programming interface that you need to develop. So, hence, it goes back to again some of the advisory and consultancy services that we provide, refactoring, replatforming, rehosting, and so on and so forth. And of course, that big journey that customers are increasingly taking. And our view about that is every customer who's on this call, just do take a look at what we have as a container option, which is called Esmeral, and which a lot of things which is around AI ML inbuilt. And if you're going to develop or rather deploy Kubernetes on scale, it's perhaps the best platform in the world right now. Many of the large Indian systems integrators have gone on this platform already. That is something that we kind of wanted to kind of get on to another call and speak with you and explain what our point of view on that as well. So, I mean, these are some of the things I thought, were thoughts from me. I don't know if I explained it all in total.
Yeah, thank you, Vikram. I unfortunately have run out of time, but I think
Sure.
both of you have kind of articulated. It's almost like a playbook, if I can call that, for data center studies. So, Gopi again and Vikram, this was a lovely conversation, very interactive. A lot of fun elements, a lot of analogies. So, it did not sound like a technical session. It was more like a storytelling session where you went back to in history and kind of articulated beautifully. So again, thank you, Gopi and Vikram, for sparing your valuable time. I would now like to hand it back to our host for taking over the conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Srikanth.
you very much. Thanks, Srikanth.